Yeah. All of us make single.
All right, guys, welcome in. It is Total Bases, the Saturday edition. If you are looking for last call, that'll be back in the fall when football starts. Baseball is going to take this time slot going forward. However, if you're looking for the final four games, the basketball picks, go to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Rob Vino and I have already done that show completely. So we've already done the Crown, the Final Four, and the NIT. It is up already on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So the 11 a.m. time slot today and going forward is the baseball show. And welcome in Tokyo Brandon. What time is it for you over there in Tokyo right now?
It is Saturday night, midnight, going into Sunday morning.
Look at that.
Woo-hoo.
Don't ever question Tokyo Brandon's dedication. He's staying up to midnight to make sure that we can bring you a Saturday show in the 11 a.m. Eastern time slot. So appreciate that. If you're wondering where my voice is, I was in a loud environment last night and I felt like I had to yell over everyone. Probably didn't need to talk at all, Brian, if we're being honest. But when you yell over people, suddenly you lose your voice. I was inside. I was yelling at the TV because, of course, I'm watching the Diamondbacks. I get 7 innings out of Erod and somehow lose that game. I feel like it's been the story of the season for me early on. I tweeted it. Can't get on the right end of it's either a blown lead or a close game loss for me on the bases so far this season. So I know you and I were sort of venting about that off screen the other day, but welcome in. Has it turned around for you yet in the last day?
Well, I thought it had. In baseball, I had split the previous 2 days, and I got off to a nice 2-0 start. And all of a sudden, the Chicago Cubs pitcher hurts himself in the second inning, and that was one of my plays. And then it went down from there. So I ended up going 2-3, lost a couple of units. Frustrating day. But I thought I handicapped the games overall pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it happens.
Well, I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to stay out in the desert here. As I said, I had the Diamondbacks last night. They fall short. I know Tokyo Brandon will be happy today if Arizona basketball wins, being a Wildcat alum.
Yeah.
But I'll be happy if the Arizona baseball team finally wins a game because Bryan Leonard, I could not help myself. I had to go back to the well. I, too, felt like I had a decent handicap in that game. I thought Rodriguez would pitch well. And the Diamondbacks would be in position to win, but they just never got a hit. I think they were 2 for 28 in the entire game, and then they get walked off late. What they did manage to do, though, was burn through some of the Atlanta's bullpen arms. And I think this is a rare occurrence where the bullpen actually sets up better for the Diamondbacks than maybe it does the Braves here. So somewhat reluctantly, because of how things are running, I am headed back to the window with the Diamondbacks here. Minus 108 is what I took. Is that a bad decision or a good one, in your opinion?
Well, first off, since Tokyo Brand is an Arizona fan, he's going against one of the owners with Michigan. It's been nice working with you, Tokyo, if Michigan happens to lose that game.
I'm not saying a word.
Not saying a word. Atlanta and Arizona. We got Elder going for Atlanta. Not a guy I'm usually looking to bet on. Soroka going for Arizona. Pitched a great game, I believe, last time he was out. The problem I run into with these two teams is the inconsistency. At least it is for the Atlanta batters, I believe. I do like Soroka when he's healthy. He's one of those guys that I tend to play on when he's healthy. Elder is a guy that I usually look to avoid. When I took a look at the numbers for these two teams, Bryce Elder against Arizona is probably going to face 5 lefties today, 3 righties, and then the other one's probably a switch hitter. But his numbers are slightly better when he faces righties. His strikeout rate is better. He doesn't walk as many players, and so it's okay. But when I look at Mike Soroka, he only threw like 93 innings last year because of injuries. But when he's healthy, he's a guy I like. Against lefties, he's got about a 20.3 strikeout to walk ratio. Against righties, about 17.6. So slightly better against against righties than lefties, but he'll face 6 lefties in this lineup likely today, and that gives a little bit of an edge to the opposition. It's a tough one for me because I think the line is pretty much where I would make it. I've seen anywhere from 110 to 120. I probably would have made it about 120, so that's not enough for me to get involved. But Arizona is also a team that's been really up and down offensively, inconsistent. So I'd rather sit this one out myself.
Tokyo Brandon, I'm going to throw this one to you, but I just have to note that Total Bases has now put a second guy on the IL this year. I talked about Cody Ponce. I was all high on him. He blows out his knee. On Thursday, I actually was right. Jordan Lawler hits the home run, the first of his MLB career. And then I think he broke his hand or something. Yes. So he hits the home run. Actually, if you followed his career, he's had really tough injury luck. And that is just abysmal for him to have that injury when he maybe might have started to get some playing time at the big league level. The reason I bring all that up is just, again, it's 1 weekend, and I feel like we've put 2 guys on the shelf on this show. But 2, for me, I'm kind of hoping to see Jose Fernandez in the lineup tonight. He is someone that they just called up. Had 2 home runs in his debut, not as good the last 2 nights, was not in the lineup on Friday. He was on Thursday, but he's a little bit of an unknown, and I think they could, Elder could potentially get to him. So, TB, I'm going to go to you for your take on this game, and then we'll go back to Brian.
Okay. I made a free play video for WagerTalk's YouTube channel. It's probably not uploaded yet, but I did cover this game. Where is it? Down there is my Twitter. I put out already the pitcher OPSs for the batters they're facing today, and Michael Soroka is a candidate to get whacked. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see. Today I'm Kids in the Hall, by the way. Did anyone ever watch that show? That was a really good show back in the day. Adam's probably never heard of it. Yes, I crush you. That's right. Oh, so anyways, I put out my list of OPS, and actually the ever so popular outs projected for pitchers, I'm putting that out right after the show. So follow me on Twitter. Whoa. Something just happened there. Did we black out?
He froze up.
I thought we lost you, but I think we're all good now. Okay, sorry. Are we good? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So in this game, we've got the Braves. I've got the Braves right now hitting quite well in MLB. They're hitting 4th out of 30 teams, and Diamondbacks bullpen dead last. Soroka's got a 1,000 plus OPS against these batters that he's facing today, and that his ex team. That's in 20 plus at bats, so I can believe that number a little bit. And Elder has a much lower number against the batters he's facing. I would give the Braves the advantage here, but when I looked at the team totals, I thought it was very strange that the Braves team total is 4.5. Seems really low to me. They get 9 innings of at bats because they're away. They're facing a pitcher that they have 1,000 plus OPS against, and they're facing the worst bullpen in all of MLB. I think 4.5, way too low. So on my free play video, I put out Braves over 4.5 as a free play, and I think that's good. If we're allowed to do team totals for the parlay leg, I might use that.
Well, we are allowed to do that. We will lock that in at the end of this show, so stay tuned for that. Bryan Leonard, I know you wanted to close this one down, so I'm going to go to you to finish off the Diamondbacks Braves handicap, and then I'm going to let you take it right into your Cubs Guardians, which is the other Fox national TV. It looks like half the country's getting Braves Diamondbacks, the other half getting Cubs Guardians. So finish this one up and take us right into the Cubbies game.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you mentioned Jose Fernandez for Arizona, and he's overperformed so far in his short stint. Don't get too excited about him. He was the 42nd prospect for Arizona last year or 2 years ago, and now this year he's 44th. So he's only up there. They've got much better. They got a lot better players in AAA that are better than him. So I wouldn't get too excited. And
can I just say one thing about Fernandez though? I just like these guys. So he hit a couple homers. He's kind of was playing, had a good start to the season in the minors. A guy like Elder, veteran, his stuff is like not elite. So sometimes they don't respect the guy that gets called up, and you get like a cookie out over the plate. And if you're like in form, I just like look for him to like ambush a pitch potentially. Just because I don't respect Elder a ton. That's really where I was going with that. But continue.
All right. Let's head over to the Chicago-Cleveland game. I mentioned this a little bit earlier today. Had Chicago as a play, and the starter leaves the game in the second. Another guy that I've never been much of a Yankee fan. Maybe I should start talking much more about the Yankees and giving out Yankees players. No, I don't want anybody to get hurt. I was trying to be a joke, and it wasn't. Okay, we got Imanaga, lefty. I guess Ciccone already for Cleveland. Imanaga was about a 130 favorite here. Total of about 8 to the under. There was a lot of weird weather yesterday, and we talked about that. There were some rain delays, some other things going on. There may be more of that today. As a matter of fact, I made a whole video yesterday on this pitching matchup between Milwaukee and Kansas City, and now they're a doubleheader. So whatever I gave you yesterday, I'm not going to come back on it again today. But if you liked Patrick against Sevilla, I used Milwaukee in that game. But Imanaga and Ciccone. Imanaga, his fastball velocity really struggled in the second half, at least late in the second half. And in spring training, it did not look good either. But then, at the end of last year. But in spring training, it was back, and it was back plus. He was up about 2 miles an hour back on his stuff. And so I don't know what it was. They don't play as many games in these other countries, and he pitches more often here. Maybe that had been what it was, but he probably would have seen that earlier in his short career in the United States. But we'll see. But I'm a buyer on Imanaga this year. Not so much on Slate Ciccone. And with Chicago losing that game, it's kind of a shocker. We talked about that earlier on another player. It's kind of a shocker when your best pitcher or one of your best 2 pitchers gets hurt, and it's going to be a long game or a long comeback before he comes back. And that might have affected Chicago in that game. The rest of the guys pitched well, but the hitters never came around. When I'm looking at these pitchers on this one, Slade Ciccone, even though it's 2 hours later in Vegas, I was out last night, so I'm with you. I was a little bit, my voice is a little bit fried. But Ciccone last year, 136 innings, had like a 14% strikeout to walk ratio overall. He walks lefties at twice as many times as he walks righties. That is a concern. He does strike out more lefties a little bit, but that is a concern here. And with Cleveland against the Cubs, we've got Imanaga, 148 innings last year. He's got about a 16.3. Not outstanding last year, but he was much better against righties. Only a 3.7 walk rate against lefties, twice as high, but still 7.8 is not nearly as bad. But he's usually a control kind of guy. I like him this year, and I like the Cubs in this game. Don't really trust the Cleveland batters. I faded them yesterday. They got off to a great start. I talk about teams that were lucky. Cleveland's a team that's been a little bit lucky right now, and you're laying a pretty decent number here on the Cubs. I probably wouldn't go to 140, and I see some 136s out there, but if you can get in the 120, 125 range, I may take a shot on the Cubs here.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. Number was right, kind of where I made it, so it was somewhat of an easy pass. Cleveland is a team I'd love to bet against. Slade Ciccone's a guy that I like to fade, but Cubbies having to fill out all those bullpen innings yesterday was not sort of ideal. Although the Guardians bullpen really isn't in better shape, I would say they've used some of their top arms in recent days as well. I'm going to you, Tokyo Brandon, but Bryan Leonard, they are Jackson Wiggins is slated to pitch at Iowa today. I mean, you got to be thinking, man, like you got to wonder when they're just going to say the hell with it and unleash him. If you don't know who he is probably the next big arm in the pipeline for the Cubbies. But I don't think that you will see him. I don't think they'll make that move. He's too sort of fragile to, throw just on no notice, throw him in there. So because of that, I'm probably out of this one. Tokyo Brandon, anything for you, Cubbies Guardians?
So Slade Ciccone is one of those guys, when you do betting for a living, you do 3,000 bets a year, and he's one guy I never win the bet. It's like the Boston Red Sox yesterday. I said they're peaking and they come out and win the game, right? Hey, if you need your team to win, pay me $10. I'll trash talk them and they'll get a win. So that'll be my side gig to curse people and give their team a win. But anyways, Ciccone's one of those guys who I never win the bet. Even when he was with the Diamondbacks, I back him. He barfs. I fade him. He throws 6 innings of perfect ball. So I don't touch him with a 10-foot pole. But I do first 5 inning projections and just define which teams are projected to score a lot in the first 5, and the Cubs are projected to score, according to my rankings, 3.1 runs here. Just took a look at Pinnacle, and the first 5 team total for the Cubs, 2.5. You can get that for plus 115. I might do that. Just, pizza money, maybe. I wouldn't put like a 5% play on it or something, but that might be something to look at, because I think the Cubs can hit Ciccone. I think they can get to him early. Cubs are batting pretty well right now. Where do I have them ranked? I got them ranked pretty high. Mediocre. I got them ranked mediocre. But I think they can get to Ciccone here. I would maybe put a small flyer on it. I don't really like the Cubs on the side. I think the Guardians have the better bullpen and they're in better form right now. And Imanaga is one of those guys. He pitched in Japan forever before he went over there. I mean, he won the Japan series, which is Japan's World Series. He won that. He's been around a long time. I think he's on the downward trajectory of his career. I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher, but he's definitely not peaking. So I might go with Cubs team total here over 2.5 in the first 5.
All right, those are the 2 games that are in the Fox national TV time slot here in the States. The rest of it, there's still plenty to talk about. So let's go a little bit more rapid fire. Brian, I'm going to give you a game, and then I'm going to come to you with a different one, Tokyo Brandon. First, I do want to promo. So WagerTalk has a coupon, Sportsmemo. The Sportsmemo website on Saturday, we pushed that site, and all our best bets there will be they're typically $7. Yeah, they're typically $7, but today with the coupon code TB2, you can get a best bet at Sportsmemo for only $2. So check out that. I will have at least one Major League Baseball play on Sportsmemo today. I may put one of my college basketball plays up there as well. And that coupon, I'll throw it up on the screen one more time. TB2, you can use it once, 1 per user, and it's good until midnight. That'll be on the Sportsmemo site today. Of course, we have our double play package for Major League Baseball. Pick any of the 2 handicappers you see on your screen right now, and it is essentially a 2-for-1. Brian, I'm going to go to you for this one. G. Hurt says, need to talk Mlodzinski and the Pirates, of course. The talking point there yesterday, Connor Griffin makes his Major League debut. I thought he was going to be on the roster right out of opening day, probably deserved it. But, they gave him a week at AAA. I think his OPS was 1,200 or something crazy through the first week of the season. They said, that's enough. Let's get him up. They win the debut yesterday, 5-4. I like this Pirates team. I still think the Pirates are better than they're getting credit for. Do you like them again today against the Orioles?
Mlodzinski is a guy who, at least last year, his problem was length when it comes to how long he's effective. He was very good in the bullpen role. They're trying to stretch him out a little bit, and he would be pretty good the first couple 3 innings, and then he would struggle. His first time out, he looked pretty good overall. I think that made a lot of believers. You never know in the offseason what guys are actually doing, on their own, especially. So he seems to be able to have that stamina this year to go a little bit longer. Shane Baz is the guy who, when he's healthy, I've said that in the past, that when he's healthy, he's a very good pitcher. But this Baltimore offense is concerning me so far this season. I have read where the second baseman who has been out will be back soon. He's down in the minors right now, so that will clear up a spot for them. But you mentioned it. Pittsburgh yesterday, they were all excited. They bring him back for the season opener, and everybody loves it. And he comes out the first time up. He has success. Love to see that, but it's two different ways it can go after that. Pittsburgh's not a team that has a lot of excitement in their history in the last 20 years. So it might be a little bit of a letdown here for the players after having that. But then again, it's also something in which they could say, you know what, bringing him back, maybe the Pirates are going to go for it this year, and they bring the better guys up, and maybe this is a different look for the Pirates. So two different ways. I think we learned a lot about how this works out from a management standpoint and a player standpoint in this game. But we're looking at about anywhere from 111 to 118 here on Mlodzinski, and 8.5 to the under. We do have, I didn't mention the weather in the last game, but I did want to point out that at Progressive feels the wind's blowing out to right, and they're expecting 7% more runs here. PNC Park is basically playing even today. It's not great for home runs, not a great home run park overall, but it's playing about even. So the winds and the weather isn't quite the effect today as it was yesterday, but I'm going to sit back and watch this game as opposed to making a selection on it. Like you said, we got a full slate of games here today. Better games to bet on.
I do want. I'm going to before we go to Tokyo, Brandon. I just want to shut down this game by saying, like, we kind of talked about a prospect having a good game. Don't get too excited. Like Connor Griffin, in my opinion, you should be like very excited, and that's what you should expect. They just gave this dude $140 million. Over 9 years. He's basically, I don't know that there's been a position player with this much like can't miss. He's basically Mike Trout. He's like 19 years old. I mean, who, Brian, actually, before I go to Tokyo, Brandon, who was the last position player prospect to be like this much of a can't miss guy, in your opinion?
Lawler.
There's Strawberry. I don't know. There's a guy I follow in fantasy baseball. He's an expert on this, and he says this is the best hitting prospect to come through Major League Baseball in the last 10 years.
I would say that. I was going to say at least a decade since there's been a guy that's come through the minors with like the rating that he is now coming out of the minors with. Like for me, I'm still like that's power ranking up for me. For the Pirates for the foreseeable future. Like I don't even think he's getting enough credit at this point because he hasn't done it at the big league level. Like I think the Pirates got like exponentially better overnight with him coming to the big leagues. Like that's how good this kid is going to be. So I will be. Oh, Mark Lambert says Strawberry as well. I'd be on the Pirates here too, and maybe it'll be a play. That's been my problem so far this year, kind of leaving off. Maybe been a little too selective. I've left off some winners. I've already got 2 plays locked in, and the Pirates very well might be a third for me here. Tokyo, Brandon, I want to go to you. I lost the comment in the chat. It was Colin Gregory said, maybe yesterday was the day to go against my Astros. I said the A's would get them at one point in the series, and suddenly those A's bats that were very undisciplined and hacking and couldn't put the ball in play for the first week of the season, found some hard contact yesterday. 11 runs on their way to an 11-4 win. So, TB, you see that coming into today. I think it's safe to say the A's offense woke up very quickly in that game. Do you think it carries over? Morales on the hill for the A's, Imai for the Astros. Also, can you tell me a little bit about Tetsuya Imai, someone that doesn't really know as much about him?
Yeah, Brian, good point. The two words Pittsburgh Pirates and exciting are not really mentioned in the same sentence very often. That was a good point you made there. Yeah, the proper pronunciation of his name is Imai Tatsuya. So Imai is he's a cocky young guy. They don't come out of Japan very often. Usually they're very well-mannered, like Otani, very well-mannered, and like Darvish. But he's a cocky one, and no one really likes him except his teammates. He's cocky, but he's very talented. But he's one of those guys where I don't know if you remember Irabu way back when he played for the Yankees and back in the 90s. He's kind of like him. He's got a heater, but he doesn't really harness it very well, and he tends to walk a lot of people. And he did that in Japan too. His first start, I think he walked 4. No, he walked 6, didn't he? I think he had 6 strikeouts and 6 walks in his first. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I know he had more than 4 walks, and it was a pretty crazy stat line. I expect him to come. He's uber talented, so I do expect him to calm down a little bit. And I expect the Houston bats to calm down a little bit too, because they've been hitting like crazy. I said earlier that I do those first 5 projections, and Houston's definitely on par to score. I got them projected scoring 3.8 runs in the first 5 innings. So if you can get a team total for that, if you think they're going to continue hitting like that, I might go that way. But I think we talked about this yesterday as well, that the Astros are playing a little over their heads, because they're not. I don't think they're going to be scorching it like this the whole season. Eventually, they're going to come back to earth. And Imai is going to come back to earth and pitch well in some games, but then he's going to have a game like he had in his first start as well. So he's very volatile, and his personality is very volatile too. So he's like Hideki Irabu, basically, except he's off the field, he's a little more well-behaved than Hideki Irabu. Let's just say that. But yeah, that's my take on that. I'm a little too unpredictable. I don't think I'm going to bet this game. The A's are sub-mediocre at everything right now. They do have a nice, I said before 1, 2, 3, but actually they're batting their best batters, I think 3, 4, 5. They got a real good pop there, but they don't really have much else outside of those guys. So I got them below average. Houston's probably going to win it, but I don't want to back a team that I think is going to come back down to earth.
Bryan, I know you had a question that was Asian baseball related. So I felt I was going to transition to another guy that was over in Japan, but I feel like this is a good time to let you interject and pose that question to the panel.
Yeah, well, the point is, we Americans are pretty stupid. We don't pay attention to the world. We pay attention to what's going on in our own environment. He's pitching in Sacramento, which is a high altitude place like a Colorado, that kind of thing. From playing in Japan, playing in Korea, is the altitude a problem at sometimes? And have they played in this altitude before they've come to the United States?
I'll let Toki. I mean, I know there's altitude in Mexico, like crazy. Yes. I don't know what the altitude of Japan is. That's go ahead, TB.
It's not very high, because Japan's basically the size of California. So you go to San Francisco, LA, there's not a huge altitude difference, right? So in Japan, you don't really factor that into your cap. And Korea is actually even smaller than Japan. Korea is probably the size of, I don't know, Idaho probably. So yeah, not a big altitude difference within the country. So yeah, when they go over to America, there's a lot to adjust to. The ball's different. So first of all, the ball size and the ball texture is different in Major League than in Japan and in Korea. But the rules are all the same. 1 year, they usually get used to all that stuff.
Well, I know he struggled in his first start. I'm
Badly.
thinking maybe he will struggle here because of the altitude, because he's not used to it.
He could.
He's
like a pinball machine.
And the time to take advantage of these things is early, before everybody else says, well, that was obvious. But just something to take a look at and to watch that game today.
He's unpredictable, that's for sure. He's very volatile. I expect him to walk people. I expect him to give up a few runs, but then at the same time, I expect him to strike out 7 guys. So,
yeah, I mean, my only comparison would be like I've obviously followed Korean baseball for a very long time. I've never really heard of any altitude related stuff there, and I'd imagine it's they're on a similar plane to Japan. So yeah, it's a really good question though. Not something that I really thought much of, but I know if you end up in Mexico, you know some of those are higher altitude than like Coors in the league, the Mexican league.
Mexico is nuts.
Really, I want to stay on the topic of guys coming back or coming here from Japan. In this case, it's a guy coming back, and I don't want this to. I really am not complaining, okay, about but things have not worked out for me in the first week of the season from like a timing standpoint as well. I'm going to give you an example. Wednesday, I talked about wanting to target the White Sox in that first game against the Blue Jays. The game gets rained out on Thursday when I would have played it yesterday. So, of course, what does that mean? It gives the Blue Jays an extra day of rest, an extra day of travel. It means that game that they won 2-1 the day before, that now the relievers they used in leverage spots in that game get the extra day. Now, sure enough, the White Sox come out and win anyway. Did I play it yesterday? No, I didn't, because I couldn't. I was like, I had this great setup, but I just couldn't justify giving the Blue Jays that little advantage that they got, in my opinion, from having the extra day to sort of rest while they traveled to Chicago. But the reason I have to bring this game up is because this was, if you go back to the earlier in the week, and I'll come to you, Brian, because I said when Cody Ponce went down, when I put him on the IL, because I talked about how great I thought Cody Ponce was going to be this year. I said the Blue Jays corresponding roster move is going to be Lazaro Estrada. And if you see him come up, that would be a guy you'd want to fade. Now, I'm trying to read the tea leaves and piece this together, but it sounds to me like we've got two openers going in this game here. It looks like Grant Taylor will probably go an inning for the White Sox, and it looks like Mason Fluharty will go an inning for the Jays. I think this is probably Anthony K, who's a guy coming back from Japan, who I like. And then I'll actually let TB follow this up, because he was good as far as I know in NPB last year. His numbers were really good. So we'll save the Anthony K angle for Tokyo Brandon. But to you, I want to throw this. So I think you're going to see Lazaro Estrada in bulk innings here. And I think this maybe, I know the White Sox won yesterday. I like them plus 1.5. I think they could win again here. And I think this is where the Blue Jays bullpen thinness starts to come into play. So just talk to me about that, because it feels like we were on the same page on that earlier in the week.
Yeah, Eric Lauer was supposed to pitch today. They pushed it back a day. They said he had the flu or he was sick. It may have just been in order to do the starter situation. This is the first time that I can remember that a team has come back with the same relief pitcher back-to-back days in a starter situation or an opener situation. Now, granted, yes, they're trying to stretch him out a little bit, but to do that in back-to-back days, I mean, he's a great. Taylor's probably the best pitcher, and I wouldn't even say probably. He's the best pitcher on the Chicago White Sox team, and to start the game off with him, it may be a wise move, but I've just never seen it before. Fluharty, as you mentioned, getting the opener call here. Toronto has been a disappointing team, at least offensively so far this year. If it wasn't for the bottom of the order, Andre Jimenez has gotten off to a great start. A lot of people didn't want anything to do with him after his season he had last year. But there's a lot of guys in here, and Jesus Sanchez has gotten off to a nice start. But overall, most of the guys have struggled for Tampa Bay right now. And you take a look at the bullpen from yesterday. They used their best four relievers. Hoffman is now thrown twice in the last 3 days, so I don't think he's pitching. Tyler Rogers has pitched twice in the last 3 days. Don't think he's pitching. So you're getting some of the lesser relievers here for Toronto. Let me take a quick look here at the White Sox. The White Sox have yesterday they used Dominguez had to throw 22 pitches. Jordan Leisure 17 in a blown save situation. He's pitched 2 of the last 3 days. So both teams, although they were off on Thursday, both teams have questionable pitching out of the bullpen. This may be a game where do we look at the over in this one? It's sitting there at 8.5. The White Sox stadium is, I'm even seeing an 8 out there. The White Sox stadium plays pretty neutral, I believe, in runs. So something to take a look at. The problem with the White Sox using Taylor now is if he pitches an inning, they can't use him the rest of the game. And he's their best pitcher. And that's some worries with this White Sox bullpen.
I think the Brewers did it with Jared Koenig a couple times where they would have him go back-to-back days. I don't think that's a problem. I think it'll be one inning for Taylor here. That's not, the reason I like the White Sox in this setup. Yeah, you're going to at least, hey, you're going to get Taylor for an inning. That's good because he's one of their better relievers. They have other, Leisure, Sir Anthony Dominguez that I think could fill the other leverage spots. But Tokyo Brandon, you're a guy that's probably watched Anthony K more than I have. 1.74 ERA in 155 innings in Japan last year. Everything I'm hearing from him is very positive coming into this year. So am I okay trusting him in this spot here, in your opinion?
Not quite yet. He is good, but let me give you the caveat to that. In Japan, game scores generally hover between 5.5 and 6.5, as opposed to MLB, where they hover between 8.5 and 9.5. So the reason is because they don't really have power hitters here. All the power hitters like Suzuki Seiya and Yoshida, they all go to Major League, and Otani, of course. So Japan has a lack of power hitting, and they play a lot of small ball. On top of that, he came from the DNA Bay Stars, which is a team that plays in the Central League, and the Central League still has pitchers batting ninth. They don't use a DH. So yeah, take that with a small grain of salt. He's not gonna put up those kind of numbers that he put up in Japan because the hitting is much better in Major League Baseball, and they use a DH in Major League Baseball, so it's one more hitter as opposed to a free out every time around the lineup. So he's talented, though. He's got good stuff. I'm kind of interested to see how he does long term. I'm not going to make a projection, but he could be a solid number 3 starter in the rotation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for him today, I do like certain guys in the piggyback role. I think, maybe, he got the start, I think, his first time around. I don't mind him coming in after an opener. That's one I'm looking at today in the White Sox on the plus 1.5. I guess, you know what, I was just going to go with it. White Sox plus 1.5 will be my leg for the parlay. We've already talked about the game. It is a client play for me. I played it at plus 120, plus 1.5, minus 125. I thought that was a really fair price for that to get the run cushion in this game. Brian touched on the relievers and maybe you're not getting the Blue Jays a bullpen team. They push Lauer back. And so what I'm banking on here, is someone that's on the White Sox. I'm hoping that they have no choice other than to use Lazaro Estrada in bulk innings. He was the guy that got called up that I feel like it was a little bit out of necessity, and he's kind of the guy I wanted to fade. So I ruined the parlay yesterday with the Rays. Both of you guys hit, and that's, again, try not to complain too much, but that's another one where I had multiple multi-run leads and they couldn't get it home. So I hope to turn that around today. White Sox plus 1.5. Client play for me. That will be my parlay leg. TV, I'll go to you. Then we'll go to Brian. He was just saying, Brian Wu was fantastic yesterday. I think your leg yesterday was the Mariners. So great call there, and a great call by Brian on the over. That was over in like the third inning. I checked the score. I didn't even realize the game started yet. It was already 9 runs in that game.
Didn't start from the pitching.
Yeah, it was over easily. So shout out to both of you for hitting yesterday. I'll try to pull my weight today. Tokyo Brandon, where are you going for the parlay? And is it a game we've talked about already?
Yeah, as we said earlier, I'm going to go with the Braves over 4.5. It's minus 120 right now. They're playing the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball. They're playing a pitcher that they have a 1,000 plus OPS against, and they get 9 innings of at bats because they're on the road in a hitter friendly park. Give me Atlanta.
Braves over 4.5. Did you have what did you say the juice was on that? Like, do you know?
Minus 120.
Perfect. Okay. Minus 120 there. Yeah, you'd like to think I mean, geez, there was 19 runs the night before, and then a 0-0 game goes into the 9th inning last night. I know I said I like the Diamondbacks in that game, but I'm kind of with you. I do think we see the offense come back, maybe even for both teams. So I can't disagree with you thinking that the Braves will score some runs. The floor is yours, Bryan Leonard. Throw a game out there if we haven't talked about it, or if we have, tell us what the closing leg of the parlay is here.
All right. I'm going to take a look at this San Diego-Boston game. We got Randy Vasquez against Connolly Early. Early is a lefty. We're looking at about a 145 or so for Boston with a total of 7.5. And I'd like this game to go under. I think we're looking, if this game is played in the same weather conditions, obviously the weather makes a difference. This game is played halfway through the season. I think we get a 7 here. And the reason being, Randy Vasquez has been a lousy pitcher in the major leagues. He's made some changes, and he looked good last year, and he's looking even better this year. And most people, when you mention Randy Vasquez, you think bad pitcher, and I want to fade him. Well, if guys can make some changes to what they do, they can go from the bottom to the top in no time. And Randy Vasquez is a guy right now that a lot of people have put in the back of their head as a bad pitcher. He's not a bad pitcher. And from a bullpen standpoint, San Diego's bullpen is in great shape, and we all know how good the bullpen is. Connolly Early is a guy who, luckily for the Red Sox, they brought up early. They have Peyton Toley also down in the minors, and he is a guy that is going to make a difference in the pros too. So they already have Early up there. He pitched 24 to 24 batters last year, and he had like a huge 30-something strikeout to minus walk ratio. I love this kid. Nobody right now, unless you're a baseball expert like a lot of people that watch this show and are in our chat, you wouldn't know that much about Connolly Early. But the guy is terrific. He's got a huge future ahead of him. Boston's bullpen, they did use some of their key guys yesterday. I don't believe anybody threw more than 22 pitches. But still, I would rather have it in the full game under the 7.5 as opposed to under the 4, because there's a decent chance you may get the round number of 4 in the first 5 innings. So and I don't want it to cancel somebody's parlay or cut it back if they push. So I'm going to go with the San Diego Boston under 7.5, and you can get it at minus 110 anywhere.
We'll do the full treatment on this game. TB, I'll come to you. But first, I just have to say, your boy was writing about Connolly Early extensively last year when he was at Worcester, which wasn't very long. He kind of cruised right through there, but we bet on him. So if you are interested, listen, even if you don't bet the minor league stuff, if you're interested in getting that type of information, I am writing about that pretty much on a daily basis. So again, we've said this before, we've got the double play package. If that's your style, you know that you're going to get the AAA plays, but I'm also going to give you a lot of the information that I'm looking at as why I'm betting them. It's going to give you info on these guys that eventually get called up to the big league. So I think I wrote 3 or 4 different write-ups on Connolly Early during his time at Worcester last year. And I actually got unlucky. I backed him on Sunday. It was the game that the Red Sox, that's another trig blown lead here. Red Sox up 2-0. Early was dealing. They decide to take him out, and they lose 3-2. So, one other thing before I go to Tokyo Brandon that I have to say, because I have been a noted on this show Randy Vasquez hater. I'm coming around on him a little bit. And I go back to the fact, listen, the Padres wanted him, and they got him for Juan Soto as part of that Juan Soto deal. These organizations, the Yankees liked him, and they were high on him, trying to make him a starter. And now, the Padres have given him chance after chance. I don't know. Maybe they're just waiting for him to unlock what maybe he's unlocking it at this point. That's all I'll say. I'm less inclined to bet against him this year, was what I was trying to say. Tokyo Brandon, bring us home on Padres Red Sox. Do you agree with the under? And do you have a side angle in this game?
First off, the Padres and the Blue Jays are officially off my list of teams to bet. So I am absolutely not betting this game. But on my Twitter, I put out the OPS leaders I mentioned earlier, and Randy Vasquez is number 2 to back. And I agree full-heartedly with what Bryan said. the books love to fade him, but he's actually pitching quite well. So it's something we can take advantage of as bettors, to perhaps back him in certain situations. Maybe not back him, to win or on the side or whatnot, but to hold the other team under 2.5 runs or something, because the numbers are absolutely bloated. The books don't like him, but I agree with Brian. He's pitching well, and you will not believe who's number one in the OPS list today. It's pretty crazy, but he's got a 300 OPS against the guys he's facing, 20 plus at bats. So go to my Twitter to see that nice little tease.
The one thing I'll add, and Brian, I think Vasquez is, the Scranton, when he was down in Scranton, they were really toying with his pitch mix. And he's a guy that I think at one point in time was throwing 6 or 7 different pitches. So you got to wonder, sometimes guys like that, if they get with the right pitching coach or they can trim it down. Sometimes you see guys that had 6 or 7 pitches that can get it down to like 3 or 4, make the jump. I don't know. I trashed Randy Vasquez on the show often last year. And you know what? Deservedly so, because he got himself sent down, I think, at one point. But it does seem like there are people that I respect that are higher on him this year. And he kind of showed it a little bit in the first start. I'm taking a step back. I'm not playing against him right now. So I hope you're right about the under today. And any thoughts on that to close us out?
Yeah, there's certain pitchers. Ryan Nelson is a guy that has changed a lot of things. He's much better. Look at Emerson Hancock from Seattle so far.
Yep.
A guy highly touted and has never done anything. He's made some changes, and knock on wood, it's early, but he's looked pretty good.
Yeah, great point on Emerson Hancock. They just had to put it in his head that he can throw hard. Like he was leaving too much in the tank. And when he went back down to Tacoma last year, I saw someone in the chat comment on Hancock, pitching today. It's like he went back down to Tacoma. They put him in the bullpen for the first time in his life. And he realized, I can actually throw harder than I've been throwing. And I think it's made him a much better pitcher because of it. Go ahead, Brian.
I just wanted to point out, because we're talking about throwing harder. Last year, the average pitcher, right-handed starter in Major League Baseball, threw 95.2. This year it's at 96.1. And if you go back the last 10, 20 years, it's gone up like 5 or 6 miles an hour. And you don't have to be a brain surgeon to know that's why a lot of these pitchers are getting hurt now. They're actually out there trying to maximize. If you could throw 98, you should sit in 95 range or a little bit less. These guys are trying to max out everything they throw. And when you do that, you get hurt, which is why, Cincinnati's without their best pitcher right now. And they've got another great pitcher down in Cincinnati and Burns that could be following him. He's had a little bit of problems, but when he's on, guy's unhittable. But you can only throw at that level for so often. You've got to be able to go back it off 3 or 4 miles an hour and still have success. And those are the guys you want to bet on.
You got to save your max for that third strikeout in the 9th inning when you need it, right?
Yeah, all great points right there. I there's never a day that I wake up that I don't think I'm sweeping the board, but the guy that's been the hottest of the three of us right now is Tokyo Brandon. So I'm going to give him the final chance to promote what he's got going on at WagerTalk today, and then we'll close out the parlay.
The special that I'm pushing right now is 3 days, 6 days for the price of 3. And also double play. You can get 2 of us on this show for 3-day pass. It's discounted heavily, and that includes our 5% plays. But I would like you all to check out my Twitter, because I will put up the pitcher outs later on today. And I already have the OPS leaders, and Emerson Hancock led the OPS leaders the other day when he had that big start. So the leader today will probably have a decent start, and it's not a guy that you would expect.
Hot take from me to close out the show. Emerson Hancock will be in that rotation all year if he's healthy. I think he's that good, take. And I think they find a way. Well, no, but I mean, I think they find a way to where he locks down a rotation spot for the whole season. So that is my I guess
great rotation. Great rotation.
Well, that's why that's why I felt like it was a hot take, because there's a lot of good pitchers there, right? So it's not easy to hold that spot down.
True.
Yeah,
Gilbert,
I'm very high
a ton of
on
them.
him.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian. Sorry, you're going to follow that
I
up.
just want to say they're a great rotation at home. Once they go on the road, the ERA jumps a full run. So it's because they're pitching in Seattle.
Wu was on the road yesterday, though.
Yeah, he looked good. I love him. He's a good pitcher.
Yeah.
All right, we are at one other thing. We do have that coupon today at Sports Memo. So all the $7 the plays at Sports Memo will be up for $7. With coupon code TB2, you can knock one down to $2. I'll be putting at least one Major League Baseball play up on Sports Memo site for today. As always, that double play special will be up all season. Take advantage of that. And one more time, if you came to this show thinking, hey, where's the Final Four talk? Rob Vino and I hit every basketball game for the weekend. Final Four, NIT championship game tomorrow night, as well as the Crown tournament. That is up now on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. The 3-teamer today, White Sox plus 1.5 for me. Tokyo Brandon is going Braves team total over 4.5. And then Bryan Leonard is going to go Padres, Red Sox under the 7.5. That's White Sox plus 1.5 minus 125. Braves over 4.5 team total minus 120. And then Brian's got a minus 110 on Padres, Red Sox under 7.5. Let's hit the 3-teamer. We're off tomorrow. We'll be back Monday morning in the 9 a.m. time slot for more total basis. We'll see you guys then. Have a great weekend, everyone.